Dave here. How are you? Today is the 4th of October 2020, and what a glorious day. You can hear the cicadas outside. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to duck outside. You can have a listen. This has been an unbelievably noisy year, but I'm going to, down the other end of the shop. Can you hear that? Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, a heap of them. I don't know if that's going to mean a wet year for us or a dry year. I have no idea. But the weather is absolutely beautiful. 26 degrees Celsius outside. Who could ask for more? Daylight saving has started in a lot of places in the Southern Hemisphere. New South Wales, which is the state in Australia which I live in, complies with that. So Australian Eastern Daylight Time, as we're going forward for the next 6 months or so, the show will be on at this time. So if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you may end up falling back 1 hour. So it might be a 2-hour time difference. Just a heads up. On the show today, you could hear the cicadas. Man, oh man, unbelievable. So the sound and the image is good. If I come over to this side, I found the picture's possibly a little bit sharper because I'm towards the middle of the image. You see that on that side over there, where I've got the chat, that's stealing part of the camera's vision. So if I was to go without that on the side, I would now be centered in the image. And so with these cameras, they're very sharp in the middle, these little webcams, but they're a bit soft on the sides. There you go. Louis, hey Dave, is that the new cutting station in the back? Yes, Louis, it is. Can you see it? It's I love it. It's my old station, but I rebuilt it. So I've done a whole lot of stuff on that, and I will do a video on how I did it all. There's some really, really nice features in it that I'm not going to tell anyone about quite yet. And I'm still making a couple of things to go with it to work with the track for the Festool track saw that are very innovative. I've never seen anyone else do what I'm about to do with it. So keep posted. Morning, Brian, how are you? The tongue drum project. Now, I haven't done any more tuning on it during the week because I've been flat out, because Vicky said to me, I want some drawers in my kitchen cupboards like you've done before for me. So there's another 3 banks of drawers that I'm building at the moment. And also I went down to Sydney University yesterday for the first match of the cricket season. Took my camera, took a couple of shots. I'll show you a couple of those a little bit later on. And also Vicky started there working as the day match manager. How cool is that? And she had an absolute ball doing it. You smile ear to ear all the way home in the car. So waiting for that one. Are you, Louis? Excellent. Okay. As I said, a couple of photos and the cupboard drawers. Now the cupboard drawers, I want to get into that as quick as I can. I'll show you a picture of what I've done so far. Where are we? This is the title picture without the text on it. And you can see that on the front, the leading edge of each drawer on the top, I've put a piece of jarrah there, which is the same as all of the doors in the kitchen are. Now, the reason I've done that, that's a high wear, high impact area on any drawer. Ordinary tape, I would have thought, would end up tearing off over time. So that's why I've done it with jarrah. And I've built the drawers similar to what I normally do, but with a couple of small changes. Now, to put these drawers inside, I'll come back to here. To put the drawers inside an existing kitchen cabinet with doors on it already. Remember, I've got these doors, jarrah doors, all around my kitchen, and I love them. I don't want to change those. And I suppose I could have taken the doors off, turned them sideways, and then reshape them and do all that kind of stuff so that it was just a drawer without a door in front. But the thing is, the grain would be going a different direction. So at the moment, all the grain is up and down, solid panels. That's what I wanted to keep. The doors are held on with cup hinges, you know, European style cup hinges. So as they come out, that's fine. But the thing is, you can't mount drawer slides, full extension drawer slides, directly inside there because the drawer is going to collide with the cup hinges, with the knuckle. So I'll show you what I've done to alleviate that problem. Now you'll notice in between the two cup hinges on the door, which door's on the left, I've created another panel which is 16mm melamine, and I've edge taped the top and the front edge. There's no need to do the back and the bottom. I use HMR MDF all the time when I do this stuff. So you'll see that now the drawer slides are mounted on that secondary panel, which has kept them proud of the knuckles on the hinges. And that works extremely well. So when it's shut, it looks lovely. So back to here. And I'll quickly have a quick read down the side here. Carl, I get my weekly blessing of Dave an hour early tonight. Switch to DST in 4 weeks. They will have to come to my house 2 hours earlier, one for Australia DST and one for US DST. Good. So daylight saving time. So you're dropping back. Yep. Giles, hello everyone from Shannon, Quebec. How are you, Giles? How is your course going in woodworking? I'm curious to hear how people are doing with their progression in this kind of crazy thing that we do. Creative. It is creative. All right. Let's get into working on this drawer. Now I'll show you one of the drawers that I've already finished. This is it. So this is a drawer carcass. Jarrah on the front and pocket hole construction underneath, and at the back, edge tape around the top and Jarrah on the front. It's pretty easy. I'll put this down. Now when I say it's pretty easy, it is if you get the measurements right. And the other thing I need to tell you about the drawers is you're going to lose space in the cupboard, but you're going to, sometimes less is more. And I'll explain what I mean. The side panels that are going to bring the drawer slides in to give them clearance past the cup hinges, they are 16mm thick each. So there's 32mm straight away. The pair of drawer slides, all up, 25, but I always allow 26mm wide for the pair. I try never to go too tight. If you go too tight, the things jam. If you are slightly narrower in the width of your drawer, maybe 1 or 2 millimeters, it's not going to make any difference in the world. It's still going to slide beautifully. All right. Now, Wayne, we'll keep that one private. Okay. Vicky will be blushing now when she's watching the show. Where was I? Now, also the other thing is we're going to have 2 thicknesses of melamine for the actual drawer carcass. So there's another 32. So let's add all that up. We've got 32 times 2 is 64mm of melamine plus 26mm of slide. In my book, I think that comes to 90mm in width to the inside of the drawer that we're going to totally lose. Depth, we're going to lose around about 30mm in the depth because we've got a drawer, the front of the drawer, but no drawer front. This is just a raw front of the drawer and the drawer's rear and possibly 4 or 5mm clearance at the back so we don't smash into the back of the unit. Good morning, Ben. How are you? So, having said that, the drawers are just fantastic because there's none of this, you know when you put something in the bottom of a cupboard, so you might have one shelf, so kitchen bench, one shelf, and then the underneath. And anything that goes in that bottom is never to be seen again. I made comment on Facebook that I had lost food articles in there, and when I pulled it out, it was 2011 use by date. Not good. So with the drawer, I can slide the drawer right out, and I'm looking down totally on all the contents. And I've got 3 drawers in each of these units. And man, oh man, what a difference it makes. You can organize yourself so much better. So losing that 90 is nothing. It's a plus. I highly recommend if you want to do something like this, you've got an older kitchen like mine. I built mine 20 years ago. So, and I didn't want to change it around. I love the Jarrah. You know, I just like the look of timber. Everyone's going for white or grey these days, or black. I've got black bench tops, but everything else is Jarrah. The black is there to highlight the colour of the timber. That's left over from photography. Always I put a black background to make the pictures pop. White makes it look a little bit insipid. Anyway, that's me. of wasted space above. Okay, you lose some storage space, but the space you have is far more readily available. Exactly. So let's get stuck into it, and we're going to do it. Now, what I did was, as I said, I did stuff one up, and I've got all these. This was going to be one of my fronts, but I got the measurements out by 10 millimeters. So this is now being trimmed down because the rear goes in between the two sides. The front goes right across the front. So I had edge tape on the edge. I do that first, then I put the jar on top. So I had to cut it down, and this is now going to be the back. I've already pocket holed it. It's going to go at the back in between. So from inside the drawer, this is what you see. From the back of the drawer, which is hidden in the cupboard, no one's going to see that. That's where the pocket holes are. You'll regain all the space lost by removing all the out-of-date products. Right, exactly right, Mike. Right, let's go. I've got a piece of timber over there, the table saw, ready to go. Going to make my own kitchen with plenty of drawers, so very timely for me. Exactly right. G'day, Harry, how are you? I'm going to switch the cameras over, put the eye muffs on, and rip this piece, this new front, down to 185 millimeters, and then we'll dock it on the Capex, glue some Jarrah on it. Let's get started. I'm going to switch this over. So I've got the, can you see me there? Hello. Where are we? Eye muffs. And I'll make sure I've got the dust extraction in the right spot. Turn it on. I've got overhead and underneath working here. Check that both of them are open. They're not. They are now. And I also have the Craig Foreman open as well. All good. Now that'll work. I've got it set at 185. Turn it on. Now, that blade I just used in there is a Mana Tools double-sided melamine blade. Look at that. Tiny chip there, but the rest, absolutely beautiful. All right, very happy with that. Now, swing the camera over this way to the Capex. I'll do a quick check that you can see what's happening. Yep, cool enough. Back a touch. Now on my drop saw here, I also have a port at the back. I can pull it open. So whilst I'm cutting, I've got the dust extraction coming straight from the back here, pulling down through a little cyclone and away. But also right across the back where I've got this mounted is a slot right the way across and a box underneath here. So this is actually a collection box that I could mount a dust port to, and it runs under the unit and back to the main system. So when I turn it on now, you can hear that pulling from behind. All right, glasses, and I've got to quickly check what length this has got to be. I think it's 527. I think so. I'm hoping. Let's dock one end and see how it's a real rough kind of finish on it. Yep. First thing is I'm going to do is do a scribing cut, and then I'll drop it down to do the full cut. A little bit there. See that? That's how you do it. It's the same as I do with the track saw, with the TSO guides and all that kind of stuff when I'm doing a long rip, when I'm breaking down a sheet. You know, I drop it down 2 millimeters, do a reverse cut go all the way down to possibly 5-6 millimeters below the board so that the blade is cutting up from the underside. It's all about the direction that the blade approaches the product. Flip her over and make sure of that length. Now I'm pretty sure it's 527 and I'm pretty sure I've got a tape measure here, but I'm going to check because it would be horribly embarrassing if I get it wrong. Yep, 527. Cool. Now, for those that haven't watched what I do here with the CapEx for distance, I have a right to left hand tape running out this direction and a left to right hand tape going out that way. Now, you'll notice also that when I bring this all the way up to there, I've got a cursor here that's on 30 millimeters back here, and that's giving me 30 millimeters from there to there. So I set it up so that when it was at naught, that's when I cut it, then I pull it back, and so this point is referred back to here always. So 527 now is going to be back up here, which looks a whole lot longer than what we've got, but we've got that distance from there to there as well included. So 527. And on this cursor as well, I've got a couple of slots on the cursor so I can undo and adjust it, depending on what tape measure I'm using. All right, 527. I think that's the end. They're both so clean. I'll throw these on again. And start the sound up. You might want to turn the sound down just a touch. I panic sometimes when I'm doing the live shows that maybe I don't slow down enough to get the exact measurement. I'll come back over here. Where are we? Back here. Quick read. Get the thumbs going. Measure lots, cut even more often. Jenny, hello. G'day, Jenny. How are you? Morning, Dave. Morning, all. Apologies for the tiredness. That's fine. That's fine, Mr. Fix-It Fingers. Okay, where are we up to now? That's right. We've got this. I've got my piece of jarrah. I've already ripped the piece of jarrah, and I've dressed one face. Now this is 15 by 15. So before you actually do your cut, so you dress one face first or one edge, then do your cut, and then so you've already got one edge dressed, ready to glue. Now, you might remember that I've said to everyone, with jarrah, you can't use this kind of glue. You've got to use epoxy. Well, I'm being a bit cheeky on this one because I'm in a bit of a hurry, so I'm going to glue this on with Type Bond 3. So there's my piece of wood. And see, I've been told that it's not going to fail for 10 years. Well, in 10 years' time, we might be putting a new kitchen in. So. And if it fails, well, I'll just get a cup of my nail gun, bang, 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 pop it back on. All right, just like an ordinary sauce bottle, we give it a squeeze. I'm only going to put glue on there, and I'm not putting any tape on. I don't really need tape in this situation. It's not an internal corner of a box. On Carl cam. Where is it? There we go, up to Carl cam. So you can see me painting away here, putting the glue on. Isn't it great having faster internet? So I can do this with great color and no stepping, nice clean fluid frames. Watching it back on a TV is easy. I'll put this over here, get it out of the way. And I have stuffed up. I'm an idiot. This is what happens when you start to rush things. Not to worry. We're going to quickly come back. I'm going to tell you why I stuff things up. I haven't put the edge tape on. That's the next thing I'm going to do. So I'm going to get a rag, just pull that glue off. It doesn't matter because all that glue is going to do is seal the edge of the particle board. It doesn't matter. It's just a waste of glue, that's all. And glue is not going to stick to the melamine. This glue won't stick to it. So it doesn't matter if I get it on there. Okay? It's all over my fingers now. Oh, the joy of it all, the joy of life. All right, now, Peter, you'll notice this little iron down here. Peter Lysiak in the comments there gave it to me. He said, Dave, I got one for myself and for my wife, or maybe it was the other way around. Maybe she got one, or maybe Wendy got it for you. And it's fantastic. So I have been using it. Now, if you get one of these, I think they have them at Spotlight. If you're in Australia, that's where I think they got them. Or could be Aldi, but I think it's Spotlight. Turn it on flat strap. Turn it right the way up. Don't turn it on to maybe half or 3/4. It's not going to get hot enough. Now, the type of tape that I use, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. Whoop, I forgot to turn this on. Give me a sec. There you go. If those on Facebook are going to get another post straight away. As I said, this is what happens when you're doing live stuff. For those who don't follow me on Facebook, this is a Lazy Susan that I've mounted a round chopping board to. That's all it is. So now I have a mount that I put on the Stanton bench, and then I put my tape on the mount, on the Lazy Susan, and I've got a 5 kilogram weight left over from when I thought I'd be Arnold Schwarzenegger. And this now is, look at that. Do you like that? So I can pull that out to whatever length I need. Now before I do that, I need to put this in here. Catch it with my knee, you see that? Anyway, I'm going to throw the clamps on, drop it down the front. That's one. Have I got another clamp there? Come in from the other side. The iron is at temperature, held nicely. Pull the tape along to what I need. Put on there. I've got a red light on the iron. That's it, which means I'm ready to go. Now the tape that I use is fantastic. Get a block of wood and run it over the top. Wherever it is, there it is. I'll hit it again with the iron. Reactivate the glue. I've seen some people use a piece of dowel and go like that with it. I find that I can rock around a little bit too much doing it that way, and it ends up being a headache. All right, so now I've got it there. Next step, end trimmer, little pair of shears, slide it on. That cuts it off. And you'll know if the glue is the right temperature because these will stick to the inside there. If they don't stick, you probably haven't got the iron warm enough. All right. Now, if I had another piece here, I wouldn't run the trimmer that direction. I'd come from this side and go that way. Because going past, you may pick up the edge of the tape that's already existing and peel it off. There we go. Do you like that? And my little chamfer plane, this little guy here, this does a 45-degree. Gives me a nice finish. That end's done. Does a magic job, doesn't it? I love this stuff. I've repeated doing this a bit over the last couple of months. The reason being, it's what I'm doing at the moment. And it's just, you like that lazy Susan idea. Use it for whatever you want. It's just such a good dispenser. So I'll wind it up again. Here we go. You want to watch? Tear it off. Put it back. Iron is still on. And I've got a red light. And make sure that the iron is running over flat, not rocking. Sometimes what I do is I'll roll it a little bit on the final passes and one at either end. But this tape that I've got from, that was Trademaster, I think I got it from down in Sydney. It's great tape. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, now the reason I'm doing it on the front of the drawer, which is also doubling up as the drawer front, is that it will be seen. Do the sides. There's no tape there, it's fine. And that's done. This one. Done. Done. Okay. Back to where we were, kiddies. Now we're going to put the glue on. This part has never happened before, obviously, has it? And turn the iron off. Done. Peter, it's a great iron. Thank you very much. Ah, thanks, Andrew. Thank you very much. Now, I'm a little bit obsessive about things. I like to have plenty of space. So I put things away as I'm going along and I don't get tripped up. Rather than just ending up working in the corner of where I'm at and going, oh, no, not enough space. Done. All right. Glue. Here we go. It's already starting to go off, and opening the end always helps. Doesn't need as much because it's already had that first dose. And here, I'm going to show you a trick. You may know it already, but I'm going to show you a trick on clamping that makes life very easy. There we go. A nice amount of glue. Right, move this. And get a couple of clamps and go to Cargill. Have a quick read down here. It's amazing how many things you get out just for a simple job. Yeah, it is a simple job. You get stuff out and it's all over the place. The next thing you know, you're tripping all over everything. You've got nowhere to work anymore. I really do try to just put things back. When I finish with something, even if I haven't totally finished, if I'm going to use it in another 15 minutes, I'll put it away. That's just me. All right, let's go to Cargill again. And we've got our piece there ready to go. And we'll get a couple of clamps. I'll use a couple of the Bessies. So what I do is, that's the item I'm going to glue. I'm going to put this on top, and as I say, I've got that edge dressed. It's going to sit on there. Going to lower down. Now, my clamps are messy. Messy Bessie. But the trick is, I get another piece that I've already prepared and stuffed that I'm going to use as a piece that will actually push really hard against it. I'm going to turn it over because there's a little bow there. It's because it's pulling up that way. See that? You may not be able to see it, but it's open up a little bit there. So we can turn it around, that's fine. Now I can pull this up, and this one. Check the ends. I leave just a touch on. You see the glue squeezing out now in the middle. Now these are pretty good. That's not going anywhere. I can feel underneath, and I am just slightly towards the other side. Tripping over things already. So I'm going to throw a couple of these on either end to start, and I'll put another clamp in the center. So I'm putting a clamp directly over the end, not on this part, but it's on that to that. So it's lining them up. So you understand what I'm saying. Now I can't make these reach into the middle. I can't reach into there with those. So I've got a deep throat clamp here that I'll use. So these things have got a nice big length in them, so I can throw that on in the center and clamp it. And that, my friends, has pulled the joint perfectly underneath. Now I'm going to leave that. I'll switch cameras again. Back to here. Now I'm going to leave that for 30 minutes. So right towards the end, we're going to do a little bit more with this. We may even run over a little bit if you're happy enough to do that. I just wanted to show you that. All right, so I'll move these out of the way. Over here. And let's have a look at some of the things I was going to talk about. There it is. I knew it was hiding. All right, we're going to have a look at Paul Mumford's partner, wife. We're going to have a look at something that she has created. Now, it's not woodworking, but you know that I did ask for people to send in their better halves projects if they're inclined that direction. Yes, they are. No, it's a 300K body, Revo. My favorite clamp, parallel clamps. There's all different brands. I just like these ones. It's a buy once, cry once thing. I've had them for ages, and they work like the day I bought them. David, I understand that, your problem with the half-finished jobs. You do hear cicadas singing, Andrew. Isn't it beautiful? I love it. So back to Paul. Hi, Dave. Some weeks back, you mentioned on the show that you would like to see group members' partners' projects. Although you wouldn't describe Shelley's project as woodworking, I'd like to show it to you anyway because the result astounded me for its accuracy, design, and the amount of work that went into it. This is a Japanese-themed patchwork bedspread made for our daughter Sophie in her favourite colours. Now let me see if I've got the... There you go. To start, the calico backing sheet was laid out in a grid by pencil. Paul's only input to the job. After that, each of those little clouds was painstakingly arranged in a specific order and hand sewn to those surrounding it and to the backing sheet row by row on the grid. All in all, there are 520 of them. Okay, children, count them all. Next picture. The inner border was then attached and the entire quilt was sent away for quilting. Pardon me. On its return, Shelley attached the other borders and the final hidden hem on the edges of the outer border was hand sewn to complete the project. The quilt is approximately 1600 by 1600 and took many hours to complete. I hope you like it. Regards, Paul. What do you think about that? Isn't that amazing? The amount of patience. Now, if Shelley had got that wrong, she wouldn't have been smiling like I was when I got a drawer wrong. It doesn't take long to make another drawer. That is hours and hours in that project. That's just amazing. So Paul, thank you very much for sending that in. And as I say, if you've got a better half that does things, it doesn't matter if it's patchwork or if it's painting or if it's creations with glass or woodwork, send them in to me. My email address is in the description box down the bottom. It really is worthwhile sharing. And also, there's kind of a reason to help you out as well by doing it. See, if you do this, next thing when you go off to the shed, and if your better half is saying, you're always in the shed, you're never up here with me, they'll be a little bit more lenient with you, I think. All right, okay. I'm not going to show you about the tongue drum yet. The reason I'm doing this other stuff at the moment is we're waiting for that glue to go off. As I say, it's got 30 minutes. So around about 5:02, I'm going to pull it out of the clamps and we're going to do a little bit more work on it. So we'll take it over to the router table. One thing that we can do as well at the moment, how about, while we're waiting for things to happen, I'll turn the other camera on down the other end of the workshop and we'll do some pocket holes with the machine because it's nice and quick. This is part of the drawer base that I make. So I've done 5 of them. I've got one more to do that I just left for the show. Yes, Ben, we saw your wife's stand, which is fantastic. It was beautiful. Do it, send stuff in. All right, I'm going to switch cameras again. We'll go down to the pocket hole machine. And why am I there as well? Maybe just camera 3. There we go. You guys chat amongst yourselves while I spin the camera around. Don't get too scared. Okay, that should be okay. I'm going to come back and have a quick look at the monitor. Yeah, I can turn it just a bit more. Now, I had mentioned that my dust extraction runs pretty much everywhere in this workshop. And the trick is to turn it off and turn it back on to the areas it's going to. So I'm going to shut that one off. And down the back here, I built a bit of a port into the back behind the Craig Foreman. So I can open that up now, and that's on. Turn her on. Hear it sucking. That's amazing. All right. This is the drawer base. I look for what I think is the best side. There's a bit of a tear out on that. Some of this stuff has been scrapped. So I'm going to put this side down. I'm going to put 3 pocket hole screws on each side. Turn that one around the right way. Maybe if I bring this up here a bit further, you can see what's happening. All good. These swing stops are handy. I just push that in and up to it. There's my first one. Just going to center, so I'm looking at the distance from there out to the edge, just roughly centering it. And along and back to there. So that's 3 pocket holes done pretty quickly. So we'll speed it up now. Turn that off for a second. I'll point out a couple of things about this. This is a pneumatic Craig Foreman. I'll tip that up just a touch. You should still be able to see it. So when I pull this, what happens is This clamp here pushes down to hold the sheet down so it can't lift. The drill comes up out of here at an angle. Now what I've done with this one as well for these particular drawers is, even though I'm using 16 millimeters or 5/8 thick material, I'm using 1¼ inch screws. Now how I've managed to fudge that is I've loosened the screws that hold the two machine screws that hold the bar down to the top here, and I pushed it back a little bit. So what's happening now is the pocket hole drill isn't reaching right to the back edge anymore. It's staying back a little bit. And you can tweak that up so that you can use an 1¼ inch screw, which gives you a better bond than the inch does for this thickness material. And it does, when you do it, it leaves enough of a hole here so that the head of the screw isn't proud. But it's very fine tuning, so it's handy to know. Now when I do this, I've got 3 more holes to pop in. You'll understand, you'll watch this go down. I'm not going to do it. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll slide it up the side there, and you can watch the drill come up. So the clamp is going to push down against the surface. You'll see the drill come up out of there. You ready? Now it's running off my compressor, which can keep up. I've had to get a larger compressor to run this thing. These, I don't know if they do these much anymore, but they do an electric version now. And from all accounts, does just as good a job. All right, or you can get the manual one, like the K5 or the K4, if you wish. All right, dust on again. So watch the clamp. And into the middle. And the last one. That's it. All right, I'll go up the other end. And back to here. It's good fun. I love it. All right, let me have a quick read. Amazing, Paul, you've done a great job. Okay, on behalf there, yeah, blast gates. Cool, it's a masterpiece. Hello from North America. Hello, Adam. Leslie, you have to go, so we'll look forward to watching later. Thanks, not a problem, Leslie. Do you call Craig George? I don't know. I don't know. What, explain that one, Wayne. George the Second? I don't know. Dave, do you know if the Canberra Woodwork Show is going ahead in November? No, no woodwork shows this year. All being postponed to next year. I need something to drink. Good. How's the time going? 22. I could just do a little chat in the meantime while we're still waiting for that to dry. The other night I had this dream. You're going to probably all start turning off now, but it was funny. It was so real. I couldn't believe it. I dreamt that I had sent something to someone overseas, a parcel of some sort. I don't know whether it was a coffee mug for patrons or what. I don't know what it was. But I dreamt that I'd sent it by intercontinental ballistic missile. And the dream was so vividly real. I was wide awake, woke right up, and I had to check my emails to make sure it wasn't true. Can you believe it? Oh, what an idiot. Anyway, that's just between you and me. Don't tell anyone else. George Foreman Grill. Oh, the Foreman. Okay, I've got it. No, I don't call him George, but maybe I should, Wayne. Maybe I should. Anyway, next thing. Oh, I did mention I went down, I took some photos at the cricket. This is something I used to do as, you know, as part of a income supplement. I used to get paid to do it. It's one of those things where I have a look around my workshop. I have an obsessive nature. So my son used to play cricket for Sydney University many years ago, 20 years ago, whatever. And I'm not a cricket fan. I don't like watching games of cricket. Vicky, on the other hand, loves cricket so much that now that she's actually working there again, doing stuff for the club. So I picked up a camera because I thought, well, this will relieve my boredom. So I bought a little camera, and I was getting what I thought were great photos. And then one thing led to another. I was looking at these photos and I think I can do better than that. I think I can do better than that. And eventually I ended up with the rig that I used professionally. And so I got it out. It's been years since I've dragged it out of the cupboard, and which sounds terrible, but it's there. And I will probably redevelop an interest in photography again, but I was very much into it. So I grabbed the camera out, and it took me a little while to remember how to run the whole thing. But let's have a look at some of the pictures. So this one, first one is one of the batsmen, and you can see the ball flying off to his right, off to the screen's left. I think that's Nick, who plays for Sydney Uni first grade. So that's one of the batsmen. And then I thought I'd just show you quickly a picture of one of the bowlers that I took yesterday. And I'm pretty happy with those. It's good fun. As I say, obsessive nature. Do you do anything that you think, this is great, but I can do it better, and I can do it better on top of when you thought you did it better, you think you can do it better again? Do you strive for that, or is good enough, close enough, good enough? I don't know, it takes all sorts. It takes all sorts. What do we got next? Putting that on there and trimming it. What we got? We got another 10 to 15 minutes. So what I'll do in the meantime is I'll get that one that we've just put the pocket holes on, bring it up here. Thanks, David. Thanks, Andrew. So what I'll do is I'll get that piece that we just did, and I'll show you the next process of what I do. And these are the 600 Revos that I'll use. So with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Stanton bench off now and go straight hard down on a flat surface. Pop that over here. See, this is why I like to have things nice and tidy. Pop him down there. Put this on here. Yes, it's a Nikon. It's a Nikon. It's a Nikon D810 that I use, and a 500mm f4 lens. So it's not a zoom, it's not a variable zoom. It's a fixed focal length. So I can tell you the mathematics behind that lens if you wish. These days the photos or cameras have all sorts of weird science happening, so you can get a very long zoom to give you a good focal length in such a compact camera. They're cheating a little bit. But the one that I have, the focal length, which is 500mm, so that's from the sensor in the camera to the front lens, is 500mm. Now, it's an f4 lens, which is its aperture. That's its largest opening in the aperture. So it's like an iris in your eye. Large or small. Small is when it's very bright outside. Open up large, so you let more light in during nighttime. So the same kind of thing. Yes, very, very expensive, Andrew. That's why you have to get paid to do it. Like, if I wasn't getting paid to do that job, well then I would never have bought that gear. It is very expensive. So back to the aperture. So it's most open aperture. So it can go from f4 all the way down. It's kind of back to front. Apertures work from the largest opening down to the smallest opening. So the smallest opening on mine, I think, is around f32 or something, or f11, something like that. Very, very small aperture, but it's a larger number. Go figure. So f4, so you divide 500 by 4, which is its aperture, and that is the diameter of the last lens, the last piece of glass away from the camera. So I used to have a 400mm f2.8. So the 400 divided by 2.8 is actually a larger piece of glass, allows more light in. Anyway, that's just that little bit of chat about photography. So all this information rattles around in my head. F22 is it? Okay. It's a pretty big aperture for a 500mm lens. Yeah. I haven't got the camera down here with me. It's up in the office, but maybe next week I'll show you the lens, and it's heavy. It's a heavy rig. I've got photos on the computer, but I'm not going to go mucking around now to drag it out. As I say, buy once, cry once. If you can afford it, or if the situation presents itself to be able to do that kind of stuff. Sorby Pro Edge just arrived. That's my project sorter for the afternoon. Portable stand for it to move to his and hers lathe. Ben, you're going to love the Pro Edge. It's such a nice sharpening system. Okay, so these are the sides. These are the sides for the unit that we're doing, and I've already put the tape on. And you notice that I still write the size on so that I know what's going on. And this one there, like so. 533. Let me see. I'm making sure that we've got it the right way around. Yeah, that was nearly another mistake. Turn it around this way. And that'll be right. I had it going the wrong direction. When something's nearly square, that's when it's really handy to have little signs on it, because it can tell you the directions. Let's say, see the sign? I've got an arrow as well. I should have had that on here. Now the back for this one, I think, is one of these. And I've already pocket holed it, and I'm hoping it's the right one. Indeed it is. Lovely. I'm going to tip that camera down a little bit. But these days, with phones the way they are, life is just, it's too easy to take really nice photos. Just pull the best camera you've got is the one that's on you. Now, you're not going to see my head there, but it's probably going to be a blessing for a lot of people. I'll pull it up just a touch so we can see a little bit more of what's happening there. There we go. Okay, the clamps. And how I do this is I'll put a clamp around. Yeah, I'm just going to pull this all forward for the moment, up to about there. Maybe go to CalCam. When I find the mouse. There we go. So I'm going to put a clamp at the bottom there, and I'm going to put a piece across the front so that these are perfectly in line with the face. Actually, I will use a straight edge. So there's my straight edge. I'll pop him there and push back ever so slowly. Now everything is at the front perfectly. That's what I want. Pull this up. And do a light tighten, and then make sure that everything again is perfect at the front, which it wasn't. Good, 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 good. And then a little bit more of a tighten up there. Yeah, this is the back. This is the stuff up that's going at the back. All right. But thank you for reminding me, guys. Here we go. And nip it up. Now, I'm not going to tighten it up too much here because the clamp is sitting on the table. And if I tighten it up too much, what's going to happen is it's going to start rolling these edges in. The back can't roll in because the back's holding it. All right, a little nip. Now, I can roll her over. Like so. And there's all the screws waiting to go in. Now I'm going to put another clamp here. Tighten him up. Let go of this one. And now bring it up so it's in line and not below. So now it's going to pull evenly. There we go. Okay, so that, and that, and that. I can put all of the screws in there. And again, as I was saying, I'm using 1.25 inches. And I have the drill here, but I don't have a new battery in it, so it's probably going to go flat on me like it did last week. So for those wondering, I've got the clutch set on number 5 on the CXS. It's not 6, it's 5. And we're nearly ready for that other piece to come out of the clamps. Undo this one. And this one. And then this one. Over there. And it's going to pull this one and this one for me. Also there and there. I'm going to put those in. Now you notice I've got these screw holes here ready to go as well. That's fine. That's all part of the plan. All right, put these in. Oh, and in you go. One more here. Then we'll work on the back. Now that's going to be held together very, very well. Last thing to do is the back. Like so. Then we're going to put a clamp across here. Like so, and that should pull them all up. That's all good. Like so. And 6 more screws. This is something I had to do anyway, but I'm happy to keep going if you can stay awake. John, never an idiot, never an idiot. Only if you're watching someone else's videos. If you're watching other videos of mine, well, that's okay. There we go. Okay. So there we have our carcass ready for the drawer front that's going to go on here. Now, you'll notice on the back, it's in between, and this end is buried inside the cupboard. You're not going to see that. See, it's going to go in there. But the front is going to be seen, so we have to make very sure of that. So I'm going to take the clamps off it now. How about we do that so you guys can see? Push that down there. Swing the cameras around again. John, you're too kind. All right, the spacer I'm going to take out. And then we've got this. Now the reason I don't use blue tape on these is it doesn't need it. I'll get a chisel. And slide it. We go to Carl Cam again for this one, I think. So even the glue on melamine, it's not going to worry it. Now, some people might think, well, you're going to have trouble fixing this drawer front on. So that's pretty good. A little bit more there. Flip her over, do the other side. Now again, when you get to the end, don't push too far because you might start tearing the tape off. Beautiful. Lovely. Now, I'm going to go down to the other end here. Give me a second. And bring this up to here. That should be fine there. Switch the cameras over again to camera 3. Twist it a touch. Has that got you? Pretty much, just a little bit more. All right, in here I've got, let me see what we've got there. That needs dressing, but we're going to dress this in a second. First of all, we're going to clean this off so it looks nice. I'll take that one out. Like so. Now I put a large insert in to allow for better dust extraction. And we need to crank it up. Come on, lock on. Now, I don't want to come too high. I only want to come just past the jarrah. So I've got, this is twin bearings. There we go. I'm making sure that the cutter, there's this tiny space between the underside of the bottom bearing and the top of the cutter. And that's at the perfect height. I'll shut that and lock the height of the router so it doesn't go anywhere. And I have my yellow safety device here. Turn the extractor on or open the port for it. That's that one. That one's shut. Just the underneath one working is great. And some eye muffs. This is a spiral up cutter, again, which means it's directing everything up to the router. So that because the router is upside down, it's going to be pulling stuff down as well as the dust extractor working. So I will run this. Now, I'm going to start it here and pull it back, then run down the other side. Now, If you're not confident using a router table, don't do this. Use a hand plane maybe and go this direction until you're almost on the tape, and then just a little bit of sandpaper. So I would plane from this side and go that way with a low angle plane. But I'm pretty confident with this thing. Very nice. Make sure you approach the router from the right-hand side across its face. Don't go from here that way. It'll grab in a small piece like this. Beautiful. And then I'm going to contact the cutter bearing from the part I've already done. So that has given me a very, very nice finish on both sides. I may need to just give it a light sand. Now I'm going to put it over the jointer and get rid of that rough finish there. Turn that slightly this way. I might be getting out of the image a little bit now. Open that one up. I didn't even turn the dust extractor on, did I? Ha! There we go. I did this time. Go figure. I've got it set to just under 1 millimetre. There you go. Looks great. All right, back here. All right, where are we up to? Dave, what distance do you have between Carlcam and the bench top? It's close to 4.5 feet. Let me have a look. It's 1,300 millimeters, yep. Oh, distance. Those photos that I took. If you're interested in how far away I was using that camera, I'll tip this up just a touch so we can see Zoe's sign again. 80 yards or 80 meters, same thing. That's how far away I was. So to give you a little bit more of an indication, it's 1/22nd of a mile. That's how far away. Unbelievable gear. And you can see the eyelashes on the people that I take the photos of. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. When I started, I used to have what's called chromatic aberration around the images. So anything white, there'd be a purple fringe all the way around the edge. Roundover is going to happen. So what I'm going to do is when I assemble the drawer, I'll take it over to the other router table that will have the 1/4 inch round, and I will round from right the way down the front, but on the inside, I'll make sure that I'm not going to contact the melamine edging that I've got on the sides of the drawer. Okay, because that would be a tragedy. Let me see if I've done it on this one. I'll show you. So this one already has the roundover in here. I don't know why that's happening. I'm getting 2 different images here from the screens. That's crazy. Okay, so it's rounded over. Yeah, there you go. So it makes it nice to hold. Now, the next thing we're going to do is, before we do a roundover, obviously, we're going to glue and screw this onto here. So how do I go about that? Is on the edge that's going to be on the inside of the drawer, I get a bit of 120 grade paper. Okay, that should say 120. It just says 20 at the moment, but it's 120. So I look for the best side, best face, and I think this is the best face because there's absolutely no chipping on the edges on this face, where that's all, and I'll just give this a quick sand. The other side has a minimal chip. So that's the side I'm going to give it a quick rub with some paper. Right where the melamine is going to go. Or, sorry, right where the edge is going to butt up and glue onto it. Because if you don't do this, it makes it hard for the glue to grab a hold of. See, just here? So I'm going to now clean that. The compressor's decided it wants to join in. Start again. Give it a rub with a rag. Like so. And now we're going to pop it on top here. Fingers crossed it fits. Beautiful. Of course it does. Lovely. And we're going to work upside down again, but we're going to put some glue on first on the sides only. We're going to put glue on here and here, not here. If I put glue on there, it's going to make it too slippery for when I do the pocket hole screws. So I'm only going to glue, and the pocket hole screws are going to work fine. I just want to glue the tops of the sides because I'm going to grab, that's going to be my handle. So let's do that. Back up to Carl Camp. I say, sorry, I'm going over, but I'm sorry. I just want to get it done. There. Down the sides. Of course, it's closed up. And the brush. I could put blue tape on the inside here, but again, it's not going to grip onto this. It will on the front down here because I've sanded it. Kind of etched through the glossy finish on it. Done. Quick drink. All right. My sanded sections, telltale with that little bit of whiteness there, and it's going to the top. Oh, not yet, not yet. We've got to lay it down. Like so. And that way. Keep your wits about you. And then it doesn't matter if it drops down a little bit here, just as long as underneath here, what's sitting on this bench, all of these four sides are all sitting on a dead flat surface. One of the reasons why I love this laminate top to assemble on, and also if I didn't have this, what I'd do is I'd flip the Stanton bench over. I'd undo it and I would put, flip it over because the other side doesn't have any of the rubber anti-slip on it. And that works brilliantly. Okay. A little bit there, and it has pulled it a little bit that way as I was tightening it. So on the other side, I'll probably get a bit of pull back the other direction. Just quickly feeling that. No, it wasn't Wayne. Wow. Man, I'm glad you're there. I'm glad you're there. Pull it off and rub it off, that part. I'm glad I've got plenty of paper here to get rid of all this rubbish. Over there. Okay, see you later, Carl. A little bit of water. This is what I've got to use. So it's only going to take a second. That's gone. Gone. Dry. Dry. Fixed. Fixed, you guys. Do you like the way I do these little human element things to make everyone feel good about themselves? No, that was a stuff up. That was a stuff up. Beautiful. You know, it may have grabbed, it may have worked, but not as well. But not as well. No way as well as this stuff. Here we go. And I'm going to use a proper applicator this time. Beautiful. Done. Put the top on for the 5,000th time after I drop it down. Thank you, Wayne. And which side was it? It was that side, because I can see here it's not as glossy. That's not as glossy as this part. So down. Beautiful. Thank you, Wayne. And this time I'm going to go over the top this way to pull it up. And then I shouldn't get any sideways movement. I've just got to make sure that I don't have any lifting from the bottom. That's good. That's good. He did indeed, Peter. That's holding down beautifully. One down the guts. Okay, now I can screw it all off. And then maybe I can fit this drawer this afternoon. We'll see. So all the mechanical work is being done by these 3 screws. So that's the mechanical bond. The other side, I'm going to put 2 more clamps on. This can come off now, it's not doing anything. 180 people watching me do a stuff up. I don't care. I don't care. Wouldn't be the first time, it's not going to be the last time. And I'll put this on as well, up the top here. It's got that one. I'll get 1 more clamp. Oh, we all make stuff ups. I'm not too proud. And there's our drawer. What's it like down the inside there? Pretty good. I have another rag here. Where was it? That I wanted to use. It's this one here. Bit of water on it. I find that using cloth is a whole lot better than using paper towel for cleaning off residue as far as glue is concerned. I know people are going to say, Dave, what about using a straw? Well, I do that as well, but there wasn't enough really there to do it. Let's go to the next image here. So my embarrassed red face has disappeared now. You won't see that. Beautiful. All right. I got it. Got it. Now that the drawer's assembled, and I'll give it a couple of hours to dry, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a round over on the inside without running into the sides, either side there, and one right across the front. Give it a light sand, a quick touch with some of the Whittle wax that I've been using, which I'm really enjoying. You like finger painting technique, hey? But what do you reckon? It's an easy way to build a drawer. It does the job. It's going to be full of stuff. No one's going to see the inside. Not that that's important, but you know, you always like stuff to look nice. But the important things are to label your pieces as you're going through. You can write on them if you want to with a pencil and just use something like acetone. That's all I use to clean lead pencil off. Some people use methylated spirits. There's all sorts of different things. But I think that's it. So next thing I need to do is say goodbye to everyone. Thank you to all of my patrons. And we are going to have a Zoom meeting. I'll turn that on in about 3 or 4 minutes. So if you are one of my patrons, you can jump in on that meeting. We can have a chat. Make Dave even more embarrassed, rub his face in it again. And I think that's it. So look, next week, I don't know what we're going to have next week. I'll find something for us to do, and hopefully we'll keep it interesting, a little bit amusing. I'll make mistakes on purpose and wait for you guys to point it out for me. So look after yourselves, be nice to each other, and I've got to come down to here. Look after yourselves, be nice to each other. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up if you want to, and I shall see you next week. Bye.